It's time once again for everybody's favorite segment. 40-year-old man cries about a Disney movie made for girls. So we have a Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs remake coming out. And there's a couple of controversies already about it. But the main one is the fact that Disney caved in to Peter Dinklage's complaints and other people's complaints from the woke mob to where they essentially removed actual dwarf actors from the movie. And WWE superstar or former WWE superstar Dylan Postl, who's also known as Hornswoggle, came out on Piers Morgan and basically called him out in a very awesome fucking segment. You guys got to watch it. We're going to talk a little bit about this because Dylan Postl is a dwarf actor and he has every right to be mad at this situation because essentially Dinklage cockblocked all dwarves from being able to work on a Disney production. So going into this, we're going to take a look at this and talk about it. So the main thing is that Walt Disney's decision to ditch dwarf actors in the upcoming Snow White is a lot of garbage. It honestly is fucking weird of them to even entertain that thought. And if you saw the set photos just the other day, the I guess the characters or whatever they're using, I would say that term loosely, for the dwarves, they're now magical creatures, look terrible. They look like a whole bunch of druggies, like a whole bunch of drug addicts. And I don't understand what Disney was thinking, but this comes after a whole bunch of mess, all right? A whole bunch of like woke mess. And honestly, out of all the seven dwarves that they're having, only one of them actually looked even remotely close to what a dwarf looks like. And I know in this PC era, dwarves and midgets and small people, like people, whatever, for whatever reason, get offended by them. And I don't know. It's this whole weird cancel culture. So Peter Dinklage, who is probably one of the most prolific, if not the most famous person outside of Warwick Davis to be a dwarf actor, basically went on a tangent during a podcast criticizing Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. He was upset, saying, oh, Disney's still going to be doing the whole dwarf, same old story with the dwarves and their guys that live in a cave and help Snow White and this and that. For whatever reason, he took major offense to this. And ridiculous. You know, like, I guess he felt it wasn't progressive enough to have dwarf representation in here. For the first time, we have somebody that wants to not have, I guess, whatever they are, you know, whatever type of person they are, not represented. Usually you get people that want, representation. So he kind of just threw a shit fit about the dwarves being used in this movie for whatever reason. And I guess Disney caved into this type of woke progressive culture on it. Oddly enough, right? And I don't know. I think Disney wanted to avoid perpetuating stereotypes for whatever reason. But the whole idea is this is a story that's, over 100 years old? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's supposed to be a cute little fairy tale type of thing. And we can't even have children's stories anymore because people throw shit fits over the most stupid, nonsensical stuff. They don't want it to be similar to, I guess, whatever stereotypes they had in the animated version where like Dopey was stupid and you had Happy and Grumpy and all the other characters, right? We can't have cute little personalities. Never mind that each dwarf had their own unique character, their own personality, their own contribution to the story. And at the end, they all helped Snow White survive against the Wicked Witch, right? I guess, you know, who cares, right? As long as you consult somebody woke and they cry, you're going to take the note of, this is a fresh approach to the story. The favorite term is modern audiences. This is for modern audiences. So back to the story at hand that I was touching on. This has to do with Dylan Pulso, who formerly was known as Hornswoggle, who did a little dirty leprechaun gimmick in the WWE. I'm sure you guys are well aware of it. A dwarf himself was not offended at all for being a weird, crazy, dirty leprechaun. It's always people that aren't the oppressed race or person that gets offended for others. And that's fucking tiring. Like people get offended just to be offended nowadays. And Dylan held nothing back. He was on Piers Morgan, and he basically said that it was unfortunate that all these, dwarf actors who were left without a role on a Disney movie, all their potential fame and fortune and work, most importantly, was snatched away because of this. This is a so-called progression that he said is very frustrating and a step backward, not just for those actors, but for him as well. I think he did the Leprechaun remake, the scary movie Leprechaun. He was the leprechaun in it. And these roles he defended said were tailor made for actors of his stature. His exact quote was, he can't be the next Harrison Ford or George Clooney, but these dwarf roles, they should be ours, damn it. And he's not fucking wrong with that. They are tailor-made roles for people of his stature, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's, I could imagine being a dwarf actor, a little person, I guess, and struggling with getting roles like this. And to have essentially 6 or 7 roles plus stunt doubles for these actors removed, so that's double, is kind of nuts. And then he also called Peter Dinklage saying, there was no problem in cashing in on the dwarf role for the movie Elf in the past without batting an eye, but now there's an issue. Like, why did he suddenly become the spokesperson for the community? And I thought it was really interesting to see him call him out. Because I'm going to be honest, I do like Peter Dinklage, but whatever just crawled up his, I guess, ass in regards to this Snow White thing, I have no clue. Is it a form of trying to hold other dwarf actors back because he's not in the movie? That's a little bit speculation on my thing, but it is true when in the past he had no problem being a dwarf role, but now it's suddenly not progressive that Snow White and the 7 dwarves doesn't have dwarves in it anymore. Like, why would you suddenly have offense to it? There's got to be some underlining here. Who knows? Either way, Dylan Postl is not buying it. He's not buying the whole, this is for modern audiences. He believes that it's a disservice to the dwarf community and a missed opportunity for inclusion. You always get these weird fucking people that want inclusion, right? Inclusivity, diversity, and then they're the first ones to betray it. Like with situations like this, by not having actual dwarf actors. So it's kind of a weird battle, like a weird virtue. It's almost backwards, honestly. Like, why would you want to hold your own kind back? Like, if I was a dwarf actor, I would be advocating for dwarf actors to get more work and more roles and more opportunities than anything. But now it's like, what the fuck? I think Dylan, aka Hornswoggle, definitely has a point. I think Hollywood as a whole needs to learn a thing or two from situations like this and give actors of all sizes and backgrounds and stuff equal opportunities. But when you inject all this whole, diverse audiences and modern audiences and progressive takes and this and that and purposely get rid of dwarves and even white people and straight people and things like that, that's where things get murky, and that's where people start to kind of tune out in droves. And you can already bet that this 7 Dwarves movie, or lack of 7 Dwarves movie, Snow White with a Latina actress, which I'm okay with that if she's good in the role, but we can already tell that this is going to get messy just because of all the nonsense going in on it. And it's very, very fresh. It's refreshing and feels good to see somebody that's been in the entertainment industry like Hornswoggle speak up against this stuff. He was in WB for like a solid decade, at least. Still makes one-off appearances, has been in the wrestling business for quite some time, has experience doing small, minor movie roles, but, it feels good for somebody to speak up against the grain, honestly, because some people, you give them an inch and they take a mile, and to me, it seems like Peter Dinklage just kind of gatekeeped quite a bit with this situation, so very disappointing to see that from somebody. But when you're a prominent, I guess, Hollywood actor, it's not surprising, right? So anyways, let me know your thoughts on this. Are you going to see the Snow White live action remake? Um, I'm on the fence on it, but yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you on the next one.